So while there are numerous decisions that can be made as part of the homeless application, there are really only three main ways in which those decisions can be challenged if an applicant wants to. The first is judicial review. Which is covered by a pre-action protocol for judicial review, as well as the civil procedure rules, but in particular practice direction 54B can be relevant in these applications. Then there is the statutory review process, which is governed by the Housing Act 1996, particularly sections 202 and 203. And there are also the 2018 regulations, which deal with the procedure as part of homelessness reviews. And finally, county court appeals, which are covered under section 204 of the Housing Act 1996, and also the civil procedure rules govern them, in particular parts 52 and practice direction 52D. What may be suitable as interim accommodation may not be necessarily suitable, or certainly not ideal in other circumstances. So actually the suitability of interim accommodation is something that has attracted quite a lot of case law on. And one of the cases that one of the recent cases that I wanted to deal with is the case of on the application of FOCU and Southwark. And this was actually an unsuccessful challenge in relation to the suitability of interim accommodation. So the applicant in this case made his homeless application to Southwark. He had two children who were in schools in South London, in Southwark. The other part of the judicial review proceedings that sometimes arises in cases is where there's an application for interim relief. And this, again, is something that can be particularly relevant where urgent assistance is required. And claimants may be faced with a situation, or those representing housing applicants may be faced with a situation where somebody, for instance, that night has no accommodation that they can stay in at all, and so will be roofless unless accommodation is provided. And you may have a local authority who's refusing to provide that accommodation.